There are many types of angels mentioned in the Bible. Most are humanoid, including common angels, cherubim, and archangels. They differ in rank and in purpose. Cherubs and common angels are relatively powerless humanoids. Archangels are grown and proud, a powerful force for good. And then there are the non-humanoids, living creatures who are seated around the throne room of God, also known as the seraphim. They were first seen in a vision by Isaiah. 760 years before Common Era, Isaiah had a vision that overwhelmed him. In the terrifying vision, he claims to have seen the throne room of God, as well as the seraphim. As Isaiah describes them, they possess 6 wings. They are covered in eyes. They appear to be burning, and it's difficult to make out their features behind the wall of smoke. Isaiah's vision may not have been far off, because when I was 17, still living in my parents' house, I saw one of them. We lived in a dark suburb at the edge of the city, and I spent most cool summer nights sitting on the back porch, gazing up at the stars. It was about 2 a.m., and all the world was asleep, when out of the heavens decanted a luminous tear. A bright blue light shone in the sky, and at first I thought it was just another shooting star. But long after most rocks would have dissolved into the atmosphere, this one held on. It flickered a brighter and brighter blue and appeared to come closer and closer. It was heading straight for me, and I rose to my feet in fear. It ripped through the air, sputtering, and landed to form a small crater in our backyard. My heart was pounding. I remember being so excited. I threw caution to the wind and approached the meteorite. Bits of smoke and vapor made their way out of the crater as I approached on the cool grass in my bare feet, feeling each lush, soft blade between my toes. As I peeked over the crater's lip, I could see that the meteorite was still glowing, still a beautiful sky blue. It didn't look like other space rocks. It was smooth and pure, like a crystal or diamond, suspiciously cut perfectly into a tear shape. Curiosity got the better of me. I reached into the crater and hovered my hand over the meteorite. I couldn't feel any heat, so hesitantly I touched it and then picked it up, cradling it in both my hands. It was smooth for a time, but in not too long it was dissolving. I couldn't let go of it. It was sinking into my skin like a very delicate liquid in a dissolving pill capsule. I had completely absorbed it, and my palms felt itchy. The smell of burning flesh filled my nostrils, and I could feel a monstrous presence behind me. When I turned around, there was a seraphim behind me, although I didn't know that that's what it was at the time.
"Be not afraid,"
it told me, as I collapsed to the ground in fear. It spoke as though it were inside my head, and I interpreted its words even before I heard them. Its wings didn't look like wings. They instead appeared as rings of feathers, orbiting a central node of eyes. It was hard to focus on it. It was smoldering and warping the air around it with heat, but even the central bulb appeared blurry, as though it were traveling kilometers away in 1/1000th of a second, only to return before my eyes' frame rate could catch up.
"You have been chosen by God,"
the angel told me.
"To you shall be revealed the vision of prophecy, but only after you pass God's test."
What if I don't want to see a prophetic vision? And what test? I was struggling to come to terms with the things I was seeing and feeling. A hot brand appeared over my chest, burning my skin and suffocating me.
"Your kind has gone far too long without divine wisdom. Your mind must be opened wider, even if it needs to be pried."
Okay, I'll receive the vision. I repented. What do I need to do? What is God's test?
"Take the life of your younger sister."
My breath had returned, but now an icy feeling prickled through my veins. This being spoke so coldly. but I remembered hearing of tests like this in the Bible. It was similar to the test God gave Abraham when he bid him kill his son. In the end, God had been merciful and spared the life of Isaac after Abraham proved his loyalty. The seraphim watched me as I made my way into the dark house. I must have appeared as a spectral shadow in my sister's room. As I stood motionless in the doorway for a moment, the sensation of smoke filled my lungs as the seraphim, floating just outside her window, locked its eyes on me. Because it was powerful, I believed it. I believed it came from God. And I believed in my heart that if I obeyed it, God would show me the mercy it showed Abraham. My sister's face appeared so peaceful as I pressed a heavy feather pillow over it. She kicked at the air a couple times, but there wasn't much of a struggle, and as her little body started to turn cold, the seraphim in the yard disappeared. Pain like I had never experienced appeared within my mind. I don't remember what I did, but I must have collapsed backwards and begun convulsing, because I was told years later that that's how my parents found me. But in that short span of time when I lay on her floor, I experienced millennia in my head. All the humble and great moments in the history of our species came and went in an instant. The birth and death of the universe. Countless worlds whizzed by that previously would have been beyond my imagining, but several times throughout my vision, one strange set of images kept returning. I believe I was watching myself, or at least an older version of myself. I appeared about 60 or 70. I was standing with a shovel in a field I didn't recognize, digging familiar shaped trenches in the mud, trenches that resembled the atomic structure, or the seraphim. At the end of the vision, I lay down in the center of the structure I created. I plunge a dagger into my heart, and with my dying breath, I utter a word in a strange alien language that I have not been able to erase from my mind since. Erefetnia, descend upon the world. When I woke up from my vision, I was beside myself with what I'd done. No one believed my story, and I've spent the last 20 years in a prison for the criminally insane. I have never seen the seraphim again, nor have I had a repeat of the vision, and yet I remember every detail from that night and from the vision perfectly. With everything else taken from me, I see it fit to carry out the vision, to act out my life as it saw fit. I believe with all my heart that in another 25 to 30 years they'll let me out of here, or I'll escape. I don't know how it will happen, but I'm certain that it will. I will find the field, and I will fulfill my purpose. I wonder if those really are angels that Isaiah saw. I wonder if this all truly is the will of God. Hey guys, I'm pretty proud of that story and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you haven't already, check out my book, Polyandry and Becoming the King of Hell. It's about a little boy who dies and then grows up in hell. Until next time, embrace the beautiful dark.